Imagine walking into your local grocery store and finding the shelves completely stripped bare of one thing, not food, not water, but toilet paper. Now here's the strange part. The factories are still running, the supply is perfectly fine, and there's no actual shortage at all. So why did millions of Americans believe the country was about to run out of toilet paper? And how did one of the biggest late-night comedians in history accidentally spark nationwide chaos with a single joke? Stick with me because this bizarre story gets even stranger the deeper we go. By the end, you'll see how fear, rumor, and one offhand comment combined to create one of the most ridiculous panics in American history. December 1973, Gary Vandenberg, assistant manager of a Piggly Wiggly grocery store in Appleton, Wisconsin, was used to dealing with customer demands. But suddenly, something unusual was happening. Shoppers weren't just buying toilet paper, they were hoarding it. Customers cleaned the shelves bare. Some tried to buy cases at a time. Management tripled their orders, but it still wasn't enough. Nobody understood why. What started as a strange local phenomenon would soon sweep across the entire nation. But the true cause was stranger than anyone could imagine. To understand how something as ordinary as toilet paper could trigger chaos, we need to look at the bigger picture. The United States in 1973 was a country on edge. Oil prices were skyrocketing because of a Middle Eastern embargo. The stock market was tanking. Americans were already primed to believe shortages could happen at any moment. And then came Harold V. Froelich. Froelich was a Republican congressman from Wisconsin. His district had paper mills, and his constituents were complaining that pulp paper supplies were tightening. At the same time, he noticed reports of a tissue shortage in Japan. Concerned, Froelich issued a press release warning that the United States might soon face paper shortages. At first, nobody cared. Hardly any news outlets even ran the story. But Froelich wasn't done. A few weeks later, in December, he issued another warning, this time specifically mentioning toilet paper. He said America might be forced to ration it. He called it no laughing matter. That single phrase was about to trigger one of the strangest chain reactions in modern history. Once television stations picked up Froelich's warning, the nuance disappeared. His cautious May turned into alarming headlines that suggested America really was running out of toilet paper. And what happens when people believe something is about to vanish? They run out and buy as much of it as they can. But the story was about to explode on a completely different level. And it happened because of a man who was supposed to make people laugh, not panic. On December 19, 1973, Johnny Carson, the king of late-night television, stood before an audience of 20 million people and delivered his nightly monologue. Among the jokes, he casually mentioned the supposed toilet paper shortage. He joked about people writing on it, about shopping bags replacing coffee. The audience laughed. But at home, millions of Americans weren't laughing. They took him seriously. Within hours, stores across the country were mobbed. Shelves were emptied. People stockpiled rolls like gold. And just like that, a phantom shortage became real. Reports came flooding in. A store in Seattle ordered 21 cases but received only 3. One woman asked her party guests to bring toilet paper instead of gifts. Some stores tried to limit customers to just a few rolls each. Others raised prices not to make money, but simply to stop people from hoarding. Rumors spread of a toilet paper black market. People whispered about secret stashes being sold for outrageous prices. All of it, based on nothing more than fear. The irony? Froelich's warning was meant to be a hypothetical, and Carson's comment was meant to be a joke. Yet together, they created mass hysteria. By early 1974, things began calming down. Walter Cronkite, America's most trusted news anchor, went on air to assure viewers there was no shortage. He even showed footage of toilet paper rolling off factory lines in huge quantities. Froelich walked back his comments, though his retraction didn't get the same headlines as his warning. And Johnny Carson eventually apologized to his audience, saying, "For all my life in entertainment, I don't want to be remembered as the man who created a false toilet paper scare." But it was too late. This wasn't the last time toilet paper would cause chaos. In Venezuela in 2013, government controls on pricing sparked real shortages, with people lining up for blocks just to get a roll. During COVID-19, we saw the same thing again, with supermarkets around the world stripped bare. So why does this keep happening? Because when people believe something essential might run out, they panic. And when enough people panic, they create the very shortage they feared in the first place. The Great Toilet Paper Panic of 1973 wasn't really about paper. It was about psychology. about how quickly rumor, fear, and a few headlines can spiral into full-blown hysteria, and it leaves us with one haunting question. If something as small as a joke about toilet paper could trigger nationwide panic, what would happen if the next rumor wasn't about paper at all, but about something far more critical? That is a story for another time. If you enjoyed this dive into one of the strangest panics in history, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because the next story is even stranger.